Welcome to Policy on Demand's Week in Review. I'm Rohit Kumar. My biggest takeaway this week was the relative absence of any new policy proposals in the President's State of the Union address, and particularly no new tax proposals. This despite the fact that on Tuesday morning before the speech, the President and the administration were sort of teasing that there would be some sort of announcement in the State of the Union and that it would involve a reduction in taxes, both individual and corporate, that the President could execute by administrative or executive action only, that it would not require an act of Congress. For those that watched the almost 2 hours of the speech, you know there was no such proposal. That doesn't mean that they're done thinking about something like that, and there are some topics that would perhaps be amenable to sort of sitting in the middle of the Venn diagram between individual and corporate tax reduction done by executive action that the President is sort of wired to do, or would be sort of ideologically in sync with where the administration is. So we'll have to sort of stay tuned to see if there's anything that shows up in that space. Is it something that they were thinking about doing and just chose not to pull the trigger on? Or was that just someone had a theory of the case, but it ended up not materializing in the speech? So the biggest question I got coming off of the State of the Union and the relative absence of especially any tax proposals was, given the Supreme Court's decision in the tariff case, does that make it more or less likely that we do a reconciliation bill before the midterm elections? Now, while I was always a skeptic of another reconciliation bill, I think the tariff decision actually makes it less likely that we get a reconciliation bill before the midterm elections. And the reason for that is you now have a cohort of actors, more so in the House than in the Senate, that are taking the view, if there is to be another reconciliation bill, it should or perhaps must include legislating tariffs that were struck down by the Supreme Court. I just don't think they have the votes to do tariffs by statute. I think both the Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader know that they don't have the votes to do tariffs by statute. But now when you add that to the mix, it makes what would already be a difficult path to travel even more challenging, because you're going to have some members asking for something that they just don't have a majority for in the House and in the Senate. So with the absence of a reconciliation bill, or the very unlikelihood of a reconciliation bill between now and the midterm elections, what should we be looking for in the weeks ahead? Typically, post State of the Union, you see the President and the Cabinet Secretaries barnstorming the country, talking about the proposals, sort of trying to build momentum, especially for the midterm elections. Given the relative paucity of new proposals, I don't know how much of that we expect to see. I think the weeks ahead are really going to be focused on resolving the impasse over the Department of Homeland Security funding, because they need to resolve that in order to pursue other bipartisan proposals with purpose, whether that's affordable housing, whether that's digital assets, whether that's permitting reform. There's a whole bunch of things that they would like to do, but I think they have to get through this Homeland fight before they can really sort of pursue those topics with the seriousness of purpose. So with that, stay tuned to Policy on Demand. There's much more to come, and take care.